One-on-one with Mayor Brandon Johnson. The mayor spent his day in Springfield pitching Chicago priorities in private meetings. We asked Johnson how it went. Let's get to the point.
From Chicago's very own, with WGN political editor Tamon Bradley, this is The Point.
Good evening. Cook County politician Samantha Steel says she was not drinking the night her car crashed in 2024. Our conversation with Steele one day after she found out that she was not guilty, or she was found not guilty of DUI, coming up later. But we begin tonight with Mayor Brandon Johnson traveling to the state capitol to personally lobby for his agenda. A short time ago, we spoke to the mayor from Springfield. Governor Pritzker famously said that you and your team don't reach out much. You don't have good relationships in Springfield. So who did you meet with today, and how did it go?
Well, look, the people of Chicago have, charged me to stand up for working people, and I'm doing just that. And I've met with multiple legislators throughout my time as mayor, including the governor. In fact, our team just met with the governor's staff about 30 minutes ago. We are in constant communication, and we're going to continue to remain in communication around, one, the local government distributive fund. Had a conversation with the Speaker of the House and other legislators. We've made this clear with the governor, along with mayors all over the state, to ensure that the local government distributive fund that the governor has proposed to cut to municipalities that would impact community safety, infrastructure, investing in building more affordable housing, that those cuts do not remain.
Is it your sense then that the lawmakers will put back the full amount that you thought you were going to get into the LGDF? Because it's $12 million on the line for the city of Chicago, is that right?
Yeah, the city of Chicago, what the governor has proposed, the city of Chicago would lose, almost $13 million, $60 million for municipalities across the state. We're going to remain vigilant to ensure that those dollars are restored. But quite frankly, the law was set, 40 plus years ago for 90% of, the income tax to be used by the state of Illinois, and 10% of that tax would go to local municipalities. Over the course of several years now, that 10% has gotten all the way down to less than 7% and as low as 6.2%, a significant cut that would harm our local bodies of government. So we're going to remain vigilant to make sure that the state legislature return those dollars to our cities, but it really needs to be increased. Tamon, as you know, the city council passed a budget that speculated $90 million in revenue based off of selling debt of working people. And right now, that debt has not been assumed. And so we're looking at potentially a $90 million budget shortfall because of what City Council did. If the local government distributive fund was placed at 7.5%, we would raise $90 million that could ensure that we don't have to have mid-year budget cuts or even worse, layoffs. And so this is important for not just the city of Chicago, but the entire state of Illinois. And we will continue to reach out to state legislators, but we will also continue to speak with them as we have, and we will continue to work and speak with the governor to ensure that working people are protected all over the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois.
Mayor, I saw a flyer going around that perhaps you had rebranded the corporate head tax, calling it the payroll expense tax. Is the idea a monthly fee per worker for large corporations? Are you going to revive that effort?
Well, look, the ideal situation would be for the state of Illinois to pass progressive revenue. Look, local municipalities have very little options in terms of generating revenue, and we heard from mayors all over the state of Illinois that are experiencing a great deal of turmoil. We have families who need property tax relief, they're not getting it. There are families who need access to food, they're not getting it. There are families that want access to high quality, well-funded public education, they're not getting it. At a time in which affordability is the top issue in this state, it is necessary for the state of Illinois to respond to working people. And whether it's a digital ad tax, a billionaire's tax, we have to tax those with means. We cannot balance budgets off the backs of working people. That has been the form of governance for a very long time in this state and in government across this country. That is just not sustainable, particularly at a time in which the largest upward transfer of wealth that Donald Trump has provided into the hands of the ultra-rich. The state of Illinois cannot be complicit in that type of governance. And so whether it's a corporate head tax, a digital ad tax, a billionaire's tax, the ultra-rich in this state and in this country have to pay their fair share in taxes.
One more quick topic, Mayor, the Bears. I know you've been saying that you don't think the legislation on the table is good, this idea of a property tax break to help the Bears build a stadium in Arlington Heights. So what is your counter proposal? Is Chicago still in the mix?
Well, the Bears don't like it either. The governor doesn't like it. This is not just about Mayor Johnson, being opposed to this legislation. There's a wide sentiment of the incompleteness of this legislation. Here's the most important thing to note, that the Bears belong in Chicago. I'm going to fight for Chicago, and if anyone expects me to do anything less, they're sadly mistaken. We have put forth a proposal a couple of years ago. The state of Illinois went cold on it, but the truth of the matter is we have an opportunity to build in Chicago. We're building a football stadium in the South Loop. We call it soccer here in America, but we're building a stadium. And we're also building a hospital on the far south side of Chicago. We're building in the southeast side of Chicago with Psi Quantum, the 1901 project outside of the United Center. We're clearly building in the city of Chicago at a time in which investments are up, at a time in which economic activity is up, at a time in which tourism is up in the city of Chicago. 3.5 million people visited our city. Our airport, O'Hare, is the busiest airport in the entire world. And we have seen historic lows in terms of violence. So all of the things that I promised that I would do to build more opportunities, to create safe and affordable communities, there's a lot of work to do there still. But clearly the economic engine of the entire region, everyone benefits from it. And unlocking the lakefront campus for our museums, from Navy Pier to the Obama Center, the economic vibrancy that the city of Chicago delivers is one that cannot be ignored. So I'm going to continue to stand up for Chicago and protect working people. And we're doing that with a broad coalition around the state of Illinois to ensure that the local government distributive fund is fully restored, and that we find progressive revenue to make sure that we're funding education, housing, healthcare, transportation, and good paying jobs. So I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson from Springfield tonight. Thank you very much. And we're back in 60
You're
seconds.
welcome.
A judge declared Cook County Board of Review Commissioner Samantha Steel not guilty in her DUI trial. Steel sat down with us to discuss what she remembers from her 2024 arrest. You say you were not drinking.
I was not.
Why did that car crash?
Well, so I had a pituitary tumor. It's a tumor that sits on your pituitary gland, and mine was large enough that it was hitting my optical nerve, which affected my peripheral vision. So, and also, I'm a bad driver. Like, just to be clear with that, I have many wonderful qualities, and driving is not one of them.
The officers say they found an open bottle of red wine. They say you smelled like alcohol.
So the first two officers on the scene, when they testified in court, they did not. They said that they did not smell alcohol. It wasn't until they found the wine in my car that the other officers said, "Oh, we smell alcohol." So I just doubt that. I think sometimes when you see something, then you think it is what it is. The bottle of wine was sealed per Illinois law. I had been at a restaurant earlier that day at 1 o'clock for brunch with some friends, and when I drink non-organic wine, I always get headaches, and so I had to buy the bottle because they don't sell this by the glass, and that's why it was in my car.
Commissioner, when people look at the video, they say you look drunk, right? That's not evidence, of course, but you look drunk. How do you explain that?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been into a car accident, but I was shaken up. And I thought that it was not as serious as it was. I was trying to be jovial, which now I do regret that, right? I didn't realize it was going to escalate to what it actually did.
Are you proud of how you treated those officers?
No, I'm not. No. I asked repeatedly for medical assistance, and they just kept trying to push me. And so that is unfortunate.
Would you like to apologize to them?
I did, actually. I did apologize to the officers.
I'm wondering in that moment, the taunting of the one officer, the quote is your penis that small?
So I never said that. Absolutely did not say that. There's no documentation other than the officer saying that I said that, but I didn't say that. I would never say that to anyone, let alone a police officer. The Democratic Party didn't want me, right? And they were looking for an opportunity to push me out, and this is what they were given this little gift. I don't take campaign contributions from property tax appeal attorneys. I go against the pay-to-play system that has been so entrenched in Cook County politics for decades.
It seems like this would be a nightmare scenario for anyone, right? Like you're caught, somehow the bottle of wine ends up opened in the vehicle, officers arrive.
Well, the bottle of wine was not open in the vehicle. The officer opened it. They showed it in court, the officer actually physically opening the seal.
So they said it was half empty in the initial police report?
Yeah, and when you look at it, it's not half empty.
So the officers were lying?
They had a preconceived notion, and they were developing their story.
Tonight, a tip of the hat to State Representative Marcus Evans, who went old school on social media with a schoolhouse rock-style explainer on what a state rep does. Make state laws, handle issues, approve the state budget, among the things he wrote. And that is The Point. I'm Tamon Bradley. Michael Matera is back with more news tonight at 9 o'clock. The Forecasters is up next on WGN+. Good night.